What's up, football fans? I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our two latest book releases, Football: A Love Story and What Did Football Teach Me? Visit our website at footballgameplan.com/books and get your copies today. Welcome to NFL Game Plan. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you our Week 2 breakdown between the San Francisco 49ers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're going to break this game down in only a way Football Game Plan can, from keys to victory, coaching points, X factors, whiteboard workouts, film session breakdowns, and even fantasy football advice. But first, we're going to get this video kicked off by taking a look at my keys to victory.
Starting with the 49ers in this ball game, you have to force the Pittsburgh Steelers cornerbacks to make plays in space. They struggled mightily last week versus New England to do this, and we know in this ball game you have a speedster in Torrey Smith and a big physical receiver in Anquan Boldin. Defensively, it's about keeping your eyes on your luggage. That's at every level. Otherwise, we know Big Ben can get outside of the pocket and extend plays with his legs and hit those deep shots down the field. And you want to stay multiple along the defensive line. Sometimes you may want to go to a 4-3. Sometimes you may want to go to a bare front. Keep that offensive line of Pittsburgh guessing, and that way you can have some success defensively. And for Pittsburgh in this ball game, don't get cute with the play calling. I believe that's when the game went south for the Steelers last week versus New England. They got cute in the red zone, and it cost them touchdowns. You want to remain gap disciplined. That goes without say when you're playing a mobile quarterback like Colin Kaepernick that can do a lot of damage on the ground, and you don't want to lose a football game because of special teams. You have to shore up the kicking game. Your punting game has to be on point. Your coverage units have to excel. Otherwise, San Francisco will be playing on a short field, and you will also find yourself leaving points on the field. So again, special teams has to bring their A game this week versus the 49ers.
This week versus the San Francisco 49ers, the Pittsburgh Steelers will have to defend the zone read or read option, whichever you want to call it. And I think what they can do versus this personnel of San Francisco is go to an inverted cover 2, because I don't think the 49ers have the quote-unquote speed to test deep down the field to where you have to occupy those guys early on in the formation with your corners. I think they can get the job done with their safeties and let the safeties pass guys off to their cornerbacks. What we're talking about here, let's say you see a pistol formation, running back in the backfield, 2 tight end sets, so that way you have both your backers on the field, Vance McDonald and Vernon Davis. You have your 2 wide receivers, Anquan Boldin and also Torrey Smith. So what you're trying to do is keep yourself in great position versus the running game, because we saw last week versus Minnesota, San Francisco had success running the football, and I think now you have to put yourself in position to be able to stop the run. So what I would do is put my safeties here. Okay, let's get a better marker. That didn't work out as planned. We're going to put our safeties here up front. Boom. Safety, safety. Why? Because we want to get aggressive with Torrey Smith. We also want to get aggressive with Anquan Boldin, and what we're doing is passing guys off to the cornerback. So get a good bump, get a good jam, force him inside, tell you where your help is. Simple concept. Get a good bump jam, funnel him inside. So now you have backer on tight end, backer on tight end. You have your backers taking on your inside runs. Now if they want to come outside, whichever way they decide to go, you have great run support with your free and strong safety, and you're protected in your deep coverage with your corners covering these wide receivers. This is probably the only team where you can do something like this because you trust your personnel versus their personnel on the flanks. And I think if they can take away the ground game and make San Francisco one-dimensional, Pittsburgh has an excellent chance to win this ball game.
There's an old football saying that goes, you can't beat execution. That's exactly what the 49ers did up front versus Minnesota. And you look here from the end zone cam, a great illustration as we freeze it. Look at this. Big on big, body on body. Even the tight end will get him some on the linebacker. And this is why the running game had a lot of success versus Minnesota, and why it can have success versus Pittsburgh if they execute on a consistent basis like this.
My X factor for the 49ers is Carlos Hyde. They were able to run that zone scheme with him, and he's an excellent runner for that. They really need to establish the running game and work on the tempo. So as far as players are concerned, X factor, Carlos Hyde for the 49ers. Now looking at the Steelers, my X factor is definitely going to be Jarvis Jones and that pass rush. They need to generate some type of pass rush Tom Brady last week had way too much time, and they're going to have to get to Colin Kaepernick and fluster him, because if they can do that, they can force an errant throw and create turnovers. Prediction for this game is Steelers 21, 49ers 10.
For both the 49ers and the Steelers, I believe they're both trying to adjust to a new philosophy, a new existence. But for the 49ers, I think that the continuity is a little bit better. And so what I look for them to do is to continue to play Jekyll and Hyde. That is Carlos Hyde, and run Carlos Hyde early and often, allow him to be the bell cow for the offense, and then go play action over the top with Colin Kaepernick and try to get those Feasers, Torrey Smith involved in the deep game. As far as Pittsburgh goes, until they get Le'Veon Bell back, they need to put the ball in the hands of Ben Roethlisberger immediately. I think anything less than 40-plus attempts is not going to be enough for Pittsburgh to win. I don't think it'll be enough anyway. I think that at the end of the day, Pittsburgh is going to lose, and the score is going to be 23-17.
So the San Francisco 49ers, who had a huge game on Monday night, and Pittsburgh Steelers, who did not get the victory in prime time on Thursday. Here's what I expect to happen. Continue to start Carlos Hyde. This is not something that's just an anomaly. That offensive line is legit running the ball. We need him to really show up. Who I'm going to sit? Any receiving threat for San Francisco. Too inconsistent, and they play with three tight ends, one wide receiver half the time. You don't know what's going to happen there. As far as the Pittsburgh Steelers, all day, you start Antonio Brown. You have to. He's the guy to go to. They're going to get him targets. As far as a sit, I'm going to go ahead and sit DeAngelo Williams. Big game last week. Not going to be the same against the San Francisco front seven that's looking to prove something. With all that coming together, I expect to bounce back from the Pittsburgh Steelers. High scoring affair from their end, 31-28.
I like San Francisco in this ball game. What we saw last week defensively from the 49ers was great play at every level. They tackled well. They covered well. They were assignment sound, all of which led to them knocking out the Minnesota Vikings at home. I think they could go on a road and accomplish a lot of the same things versus Pittsburgh, while offensively maximizing their opportunities with the running game and also coming off of play action. So recapping our picks, we're split on this. Gene and I went with the 49ers. Teron and Chris went with the Steelers. So we'll see how this shakes out this weekend. And I also want to give a huge shout out to 49er fan forums and Steeler fan forums for always showing football game plan support.